So this morning we're sitting down with Westchester University's quarterback, Cooper Jordan. Cooper, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Sorry about the early morning. It was the best time we could do.
Nah, you're good.
All right, so anyways, camp has ended. Can we get a feel on how you're feeling right now?
I feel very confident in the team, and the game plan and system. With all this experience behind me, and a veteran defense as well, I feel very strong about the field for the season.
Stemming off of your confidence, are you more confident in yourself after the season you had last year? You won PSAC East Player of the Year. You rushed for 1,500 yards. Are you staying level-headed, or is your confidence a little higher than usual?
I feel like my confidence has risen, but I think I'm always going to stay level-headed. Always staying humble, and just understanding the plan at task. Which is to win games and ultimately win the PSAC and go as far as we can go.
So, Cooper, it's Eric here from WCHE. The question I had for you here, what has been the biggest difference so far between year one and year two with Coach Duke Greco at the helm?
First year in the system, you're trying to get used to it and as quick as you can. And we had a short camp last year, so, it was kind of hard. So it took us towards the third or fourth game to really get things down pat. And, year two in the system, a lot of experience. You have a whole year to go over it with your coach. During the summer, we went over it, had some Zoom calls. Sometimes we met in person. Just getting the most of that, just trying to learn the playbook as much as I can. And I feel like now, we got that down pat. I feel like we're gonna do pretty good this year.
So stemming off of Eric's question, comparing the two coaches that you've played under, one being Bill Zwan and the other one being Duke Greco, how have practices changed? Are they more intense? Are things maybe more organized? Or is everything ultimately the same to a degree, aside from a coach's personality?
Yeah, it's ultimately, it's close to the same, but I feel like now we have more energy under Duke and more, it's definitely more intensity, more conditioning. And the energy level, like I said, it's different. It's high energy. Younger coach. I would just say that the energy is probably the thing that's changed the most.
So, Cooper, another question I had for you. So, last year you guys opened up the season against Bentley, a tough loss to start last year. Does that give the team more motivation heading into the season, taking on Bentley again?
Yeah, not only is it for revenge, but it's to send a message to all the other teams that we have on our schedule and just make a strong impact and just win every game. We're going to try to go 1-0 every week. So, Bentley's the first team, and that's what's on our agenda.
So how are you approaching the game differently this year in comparison to last year?
I would say probably, being more focused and just being way more prepared than I was in the past. Watching a ton of film, paying attention, going in depth about the scouting report, just preparation, I would say.
So you led the PSAC in rushing yards last year as a quarterback. Is there anything in your game that you still look to improve, or are you overall satisfied with how you're playing? It's just kind of the finer details that you got to hash out.
I feel like there's always stuff to improve on. Getting my reads down quicker. That's something that I've practiced in the summer. Definitely, overall, just everything. I'm always looking to get better, and there's always stuff to improve on.
And Cooper, going off that question there that Chai had, given the fact that you are a mobile quarterback, you had some great rushing statistics last year. Is there a quarterback, past or present, that you've modeled your game after or looked up to as far as on a pro level?
Yeah, Lamar Jackson and Mike Vick.
Good answers. Definitely two good ones.
So being the starting quarterback, it's the most important position on the field. I think that's something that everyone can universally agree on. How do you handle the pressure of that, being such a prominent leader?
I mean, just staying level-headed. You know, when things go wrong, guys are going to look at you and, like, based on your attitude, they're going to feed off that. So if you keep a great attitude with your head up, you know, guys are going to look at you and see you at the helm, just keeping your head up and having confidence, and they're going to come along and have that confidence too.
Do you find it difficult to sometimes have a good attitude even in a loss? I know for most people it's very difficult, but as someone who's played with you, you seem to do a pretty good job of it.
Yeah. Definitely. But, you know, you got to keep moving forward. You know, there's next week, and then the week after that. Can't let the bad energy from the past week go into the next week. So gotta keep your head.
So, Cooper, being the fact that you're a senior and you were obviously on the team last year, are there any players that you've seen from last year to this year in camp that have taken some big strides, both on offense or defense? Any players that you notice have improved big time during camp?
I would say definitely the O-line. You know, Darryl Brown's made a huge step. Another wide receiver from Monmouth that was with us in spring, Matt, made a huge step. And you know, we got a lot of weapons. Robbie Longo made a huge step. And on the defensive side of the ball, we have, like I said, eight returning starters. So I think it's going to be really good for that side of the ball. And you know, they're going to get us in great field position, and we're going to do what we do.
So, stemming off the receivers, who's the receiver that you would say you have the most chemistry with on the team? There's a lot of great receivers on this team, but who's somebody in particular who just kind of clicks with you?
I would say probably just because the experience. I mean, all the experience that we had together. Probably Thatcher or Robbie Longo. Still getting stuff down with the other guys, but we're there. We're close to there.
Gotcha. Are you saying Robbie because he's my roommate? I'm just playing.
Nah.
I'm joking around.
Yeah.
So walk us through how you prepare pregame. Are there any specific rituals you have, like putting on the right cleat before the left cleat, or is there a prayer you say before every game? Like, kind of walk us through what you do.
Yeah. So first, when I get to the stadium, I go out, I stretch, get a really good stretch in, you know, get some do some mobility drills. And then after that, I come in and I hop on the phone with my mom and my grandma, and they pray for me. And then after that, go in the weight room and I stretch a little bit more. And then, you know, it's just game time after that.
So, Cooper, we know this week you have Bentley, but some of the big matchups you have this year, you guys take on teams such as Shepherd, East Stroudsburg. I know on homecoming this year, that'll be coming up not too long from now. Are there any teams that you're really looking forward to getting to play this year?
Nah, not really. I just say every week, like I said earlier, the goal is just to go 1-0. No circle games, no teams that, you know, are on our schedule that, you feel me? It's just go 1-0 each week.
Yeah, I think that's the right mindset to have for sure. Chad, do you have anything else on your end?
How important, just going back to the pregame thing, how important is that phone call between you and your parents and grandparents? I know me especially, single mother, it's very important to talk to my mom every single day. How important is that for you pregame?
Very important. I never ever forget to do that, because I feel like that's where, you know, I feel like that's why I was so successful last year, because the advice that they would give me, and, you know, just praying and just hearing their voices before the game, it just brings me at peace, and it gives me a peaceful feel. And, you know, sometimes it's just, just hearing their voice.
I understand, and I understand where you're coming from.
And then the last question that I had, and Chai, if you had any more, feel free to chime in. So being a student athlete, obviously a big responsibility between managing your classwork as well as your time on the field. How do you manage that balance between managing your classwork and then also being a student athlete?
Definitely getting my work done early in the week, and just planning out your schedule, just making a little. So I have an assignment book. I write down all my assignments, and then I'll do it early in the week, a couple days before it's due. Just mapping up your time, because time's very thin as a student athlete, so you got to make the most of it.
So I just have one last question for you, kind of a fun question.
Sure.
When football's all said and done, I know it's a big question, but what's the legacy you kind of want to leave behind at the school?
I want to be known as a great teammate, somebody that was very coachable and a winner. And that's this final season. That's what's going to come down to being a winner. I feel like I'm very coachable, and I'm definitely working on becoming a better leader, more vocal, and I feel like I'm a pretty good teammate. What you think, Shai?
I think you were a great teammate. You really put me on the spot here. Cooper, thank you so much for coming on the show this morning. Again, I apologize for how early it was. You sound a little drowsy, but
I got class too, so it's good.
No, that's good. You're going to class. I slept through mine yesterday. All right. Thank you so much, Cooper.
Appreciate it. Good luck this week.
Yeah, good luck.
Thank you.